"I never thought a simple act of kindness would change my entire life," Michael whispered, tears streaming down his face as he looked at the keys to his new house. 3 years ago, I was living paycheck to paycheck in a cramped apartment with my daughter. Now. His voice broke as he turned to face the camera. "If you're watching this and wondering if good things can still happen to good people, I'm living proof they can. Like, subscribe, and let me tell you how driving my drunk boss home one night led to the miracle my daughter and I desperately needed." Michael Jenkins checked his watch for the 5th time in as many minutes. The office Christmas party had ended 2 hours ago, but as the newest accounting clerk at Westfield Financial, he couldn't leave until his boss did. Company tradition, they'd said. More like unpaid overtime, he thought. His phone buzzed with a text from Mrs. Hernandez, his elderly neighbor who watched 8-year-old Lily after school. "Everything okay? Lily's asleep on my couch. Take your time, but let me know when you're heading home, *. Michael typed back a quick thank you, guilt gnawing at him. Since Emma's death 2 years ago, he'd been juggling single parenthood with whatever jobs he could find. This position at Westfield was the first stable job he'd landed, and he couldn't risk losing it, even if it meant late nights like this. From the conference room came the sound of breaking glass followed by raucous laughter. Michael winced. The executive team was still going strong, with Victoria Westfield, the notoriously demanding CEO, at the center of it all. At 35, Victoria had inherited the company from her father 3 years ago. Rumors about her were plentiful. She was brilliant but ruthless, beautiful but cold, demanding perfection while being perfectly flawed herself. Michael had only interacted with her a handful of times, each encounter leaving him feeling like he'd barely passed some unspoken test. Another crash, followed by a string of slurred profanities. Michael sighed and returned to the spreadsheet he was pretending to work on. Another hour passed before the conference room door finally opened. "Jenkins." Victoria's voice rang out across the empty office floor. "Jenkins, are you still here?" Michael stood quickly. "Yes, Ms. Westfield." She appeared in his doorway, her normally immaculate appearance slightly disheveled. Her dark hair was coming loose from its elegant updo, and her cheeks were flushed. She leaned against the doorframe, blinking slowly. "Everyone else left," she said, her words slightly slurred. "Why are you still here?" "New employees stay until the boss leaves," Michael replied. "Company tradition." Victoria frowned. "That's a stupid tradition." She straightened, wobbling slightly. "I'm going home now, so you can go too." "Thank you, Ms. Westfield." Michael began gathering his things. "Do you have a ride home?" She waved dismissively. "I'll call a car." Michael watched as she fumbled with her phone, dropping it twice before managing to open an app. Something about her vulnerability in that moment, so different from her usual commanding presence, made him speak up. "Ms. Westfield, I'd be happy to drive you home. It's no trouble." She looked up, surprise crossing her features before her professional mask slipped back into place. "That won't be necessary." "I insist," Michael said, surprising himself with his boldness. "It's late, and the roads might be icy. I'd feel better knowing you got home safely." For a moment, Victoria looked like she might argue, but then her shoulders slumped slightly. "Fine. Thank you, Jenkins." The drive to Victoria's upscale neighborhood was mostly silent. Michael called Mrs. Hernandez to let her know he was running late, conscious of Victoria listening to every word. "Your daughter?" she asked after he hung up. "Yes. Lily. She's 8. Victoria nodded, staring out the window. "And her mother?" "She passed away. Cancer. 2 years ago." "I'm sorry," Victoria said, and for once, her voice held genuine emotion. When they arrived at her townhouse, Michael expected a quick thank you before she disappeared inside. Instead, Victoria sat in the passenger seat, making no move to leave. Would you like to come in for coffee? She asked suddenly. To sober up before you drive home. Michael hesitated. I should get back to my daughter. Of course, Victoria nodded. Then, Jenkins, why did you take this job? The question caught him off guard. I needed the work. And Westfield has a good reputation. You're overqualified for your position. I've seen your resume. Michael shifted uncomfortably. The job market is tough. And with Lily, I needed something stable, with health insurance. Victoria studied him for a long moment. Bring your daughter to the office tomorrow. Excuse me? It's Saturday. No one will be there except security. Bring her at noon. With that, Victoria got out of the car and walked to her door without looking back. The next morning, Michael debated whether to follow Victoria's strange instruction. Had she even meant it, or was it just the alcohol talking? But curiosity, and perhaps a fear of disappointing his boss, won out. At noon, he and Lily stood in the lobby of Westfield Financial, the little girl wide-eyed at the marble floors and high ceilings. Daddy, is this where you work? It looks like a castle. Michael smiled, smoothing Lily's unruly curls. Part of it, sweetheart. My office is upstairs. The security guard nodded them through, mentioning that Ms. Westfield was already in her office. Michael's stomach tightened with anxiety as they rode the elevator to the executive floor. Victoria's office door was open. She sat behind her massive desk, looking remarkably fresh for someone who had been intoxicated just hours before. Her hair was pulled back in a sleek ponytail, and she wore casual but expensive-looking weekend clothes. Jenkins, she said, looking up. Her eyes moved to Lily. And this must be your daughter. Lily, Michael supplied. Lily, this is Ms. Westfield, my boss. Lily stepped forward with the fearlessness of childhood. Your building is very pretty. Do you own all of it? A smile flickered across Victoria's face. The company does, yes. Cool. Daddy says you're very smart and work really hard. Michael felt his cheeks warm. He hadn't actually said those exact words, but he tried to explain to Lily why he sometimes had to work late. Victoria gestured to the chairs across from her desk. Please, sit down. Once they were seated, Victoria leaned forward. Jenkins, Michael, I want to apologize for last night. It was unprofessional of me to drink that much at a company event. It's fine, Ms. Westfield. Everyone lets loose sometimes. Victoria, please. And no, it's not fine. She glanced at Lily, who was examining a crystal paperweight from the desk. I've been thinking about what you told me. About being a single parent. Michael tensed, unsure where this was going. My father died 3 years ago, Victoria continued. My mother when I was 12. I know something about loss. She paused. I also know you've been working 2 jobs since you started here. Michael stared at her, shocked. How did you? I make it my business to know about my employees. Especially the ones who stay late to drive their drunk bosses home. There was a hint of self-deprecation in her voice. The weekend security job at the mall. That can't leave much time for. She nodded toward Lily. We manage, Michael said stiffly. Victoria nodded. I'm sure you do. But I have a proposition for you. She slid a folder across the desk. We have an opening in our financial analysis department. The previous manager left last month. The position pays twice what you're making now, with better benefits and more flexible hours. Michael opened the folder, scanning the job description with disbelief. This is... I don't understand. You have the qualifications. Your previous experience at Goldman Sachs more than prepares you for this role. But I've only been with Westfield for 3 months. Victoria shrugged. I'm the CEO. I can promote whoever I want. Her eyes softened slightly. Consider it a thank you. For last night. This is too much for just driving you home. It's not just for that. Victoria's gaze drifted to Lily, who was now drawing on a notepad Victoria had given her. It's for reminding me that there are decent people in the world. People who help others without expecting anything in return. She straightened in her chair. Besides, it's not charity. You're qualified, and we need someone good in that position. Michael looked down at the offer letter, his mind racing. The salary would mean he could quit his second job. He could be home for dinner with Lily every night, maybe even start saving for a house. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Victoria replied simply. And then take your daughter to lunch. On the company card. She handed him a sleek corporate credit card. Consider it your signing bonus. That lunch was the beginning of a transformation in Michael's life. The new position challenged him professionally while giving him the flexibility he needed as a single parent. For the first time since Emma's death, he felt like he was thriving rather than just surviving. His relationship with Victoria evolved too. What began as a boss-employee dynamic gradually shifted into something like friendship. She took an interest in Lily, sending books and educational toys on her birthday. When Lily's school had career day, Victoria surprised everyone by showing up alongside Michael to talk about women in business. 6 months after his promotion, Victoria called Michael into her office. I need a favor, she said without preamble. My father established a charitable foundation years ago. It's been neglected since his death. I want to revitalize it, focus on supporting single-parent families. I need someone to run it. Michael raised his eyebrows. And you're asking me? Who better? You understand the challenges firsthand. She slid another folder across her desk, a habit he'd grown accustomed to. The foundation has substantial resources. With the right leadership, it could make a real difference. I don't have experience running a nonprofit. You have experience being a single parent who needed help. That's more valuable. Victoria leaned back in her chair. Think about it. The salary would be comparable to what you're making now, but with even more flexibility. Michael took the folder. Why are you doing this? Victoria was quiet for a moment. My father was a single parent too, after my mother died. He built this company while raising me alone. It nearly broke him. Her eyes met Michael's. No one should have to choose between being a good parent and making a living. The Westfield Family Foundation became Michael's passion. Under his direction, it provided childcare subsidies, housing assistance, and educational support to single-parent families throughout the city. Victoria remained involved, attending fundraisers and board meetings, her business acumen complementing Michael's empathetic approach. As they worked together, Michael began to see beyond Victoria's intimidating exterior to the person beneath, someone who had also experienced profound loss, who hid vulnerability behind perfectionism, whose apparent coldness was really just careful self-protection. A year into his work with the foundation, Michael was reviewing applications for their housing program when Victoria appeared in his doorway. I have a property I'm thinking of donating to the foundation, she said. Would you come look at it with me this weekend? That Saturday, Victoria drove them to a quiet suburban neighborhood. The house she pulled up to was modest but charming, a 2-story with a wide front porch and a fenced backyard. It was my father's first real estate investment, Victoria explained as they walked through the empty rooms. He kept it as a rental property for years. I inherited it along with everything else. Michael nodded, making mental notes. It would be perfect for a family with children. The school district is excellent. That's what I thought. Victoria paused in the kitchen, running her hand along the countertop. Actually, I had a specific family in mind. Oh? Someone from our applicant pool? Victoria turned to face him. You and Lily. Michael stared at her. What? I want to give you this house, Michael. Not the foundation. You. Victoria, I can't accept something like this. It's too much. It's not a gift. Not exactly. She took a deep breath. It's an investment in our future. Our future? Victoria stepped closer. I've never been good at personal relationships. Business, yes. People, no. But you and Lily, you've become important to me. Her voice grew softer. More than important. Michael felt his heart racing. Over the past year, he'd found himself thinking about Victoria in ways that went beyond professional admiration, but he'd never imagined she might feel the same. Victoria. Let me finish, she interrupted. I'm not asking for anything. I'm offering this house. A place for you and Lily to build a stable life. And maybe, if you want, a place where I could be part of that life too. In whatever way you're comfortable with. Michael looked around the sun-filled kitchen, imagining Lily doing homework at the island, family dinners, holidays. A real home, not the cramped apartment they'd been making do with. This isn't because I drove you home that night, he said finally. Victoria smiled. No. It's because of everything that's happened since. Because you showed me kindness when I didn't deserve it. Because you've helped me become a better person, a better leader. She hesitated. Because somewhere along the way, I fell in love with you and your daughter. Michael reached for her hand. Lily adores you, you know. She tells everyone her daddy works for the smartest, prettiest lady in the city. Victoria laughed, a rare sound that Michael had come to treasure. And what does her daddy say? Her daddy thinks she's right. Michael squeezed Victoria's hand. About both counts. The house became their home. Victoria didn't move in right away, they took things slowly, mindful of Lily's adjustment. But she was a constant presence, helping Lily with science projects, teaching her to play chess, creating a family where there had been only loss. 2 years after that Christmas party, Michael and Victoria were married in the backyard of the house that had once been just an investment property and was now the center of their shared life. Lily, now 11, served as both flower girl and ring bearer, beaming with pride. At the reception, Victoria clinked her glass, filled with sparkling cider, not champagne, and stood to address their guests. 3 years ago, I was lost, she began. Running my father's company but missing his guidance. Successful on paper but empty inside. She looked at Michael and Lily. And then this man drove me home one night when I was in no condition to drive myself. A simple act of kindness that I didn't deserve but desperately needed. She raised her glass. They say when you help someone without expecting anything in return, the universe finds a way to thank you. Michael helped me that night, and every day since, expecting nothing. But the universe had plans. Her voice caught. It gave me a family. It gave me love. It gave me purpose beyond profit margins and quarterly reports. Michael stood and wrapped his arm around her waist, Lily squeezing between them. To kindness, Victoria said, her eyes shining. And to the family I never knew I needed. And that's our story, Michael said, looking directly into the camera. From a late-night drive to a life I never imagined possible. Victoria transformed the foundation into one of the largest support networks for single parents in the country. Lily is heading to college next year, full scholarship. He smiled, emotion evident in his eyes. I'm not sharing this for praise or attention. I'm sharing it because sometimes we all need a reminder that small acts of kindness can change lives. That second chances are real. That family can be found in the most unexpected places. He held up the keys to the house, their house, one last time. If you're struggling right now, if you're a single parent wondering how you'll make it through another day, know that you're not alone. And know that sometimes, help comes from where you least expect it. The camera panned out to show Victoria and Lily joining Michael on the porch, their arms around each other. Like and subscribe if this story touched you, Michael said. And remember, be kind. You never know whose life you might change, including your own. The camera lingered on the family for a moment longer before cutting to Michael alone, sitting in his home office. The warm lighting highlighted the crow's feet around his eyes, evidence of both hardship and joy. It's been 15 years since that night, he said quietly. Lily graduated from medical school last month. Victoria and I were in the front row, both of us crying harder than anyone else. He chuckled, shaking his head. Our foundation has helped over 10,000 single-parent families find stable housing, childcare, and employment. But people always ask me what the biggest change has been in my own life. Michael leaned forward, his expression earnest. It wasn't the house, though having a stable home changed everything for Lily. It wasn't the career opportunities, though I'm grateful every day for meaningful work. It wasn't even finding love again, though Victoria has been my rock and my partner in every sense. He paused, collecting his thoughts. The biggest change was learning to accept help. As a single parent, I was so determined to do everything myself, to prove I could handle it all. Driving Victoria home that night? That was easy. Letting her help us? That was the hardest thing I've ever done. The video cut to footage of the Westfield Family Foundation's community center, where parents attended job training while their children played in a bright, well-equipped daycare space. Pride is expensive, Michael's voice continued over the footage. It costs you opportunities, relationships, joy. I see it every day in the parents who come to our foundation, that reluctance to admit they need help, that fear of being judged for struggling. Back to Michael in his office, now holding a framed photo of himself, Victoria, and Lily at her medical school graduation. If you're watching this and you're trying to do it all alone, please hear me, accepting help isn't weakness. It's courage. It's wisdom. It's giving your children the gift of a parent who isn't exhausted and overwhelmed all the time. He set the photo down gently. And if you're in a position to help someone, a single parent, a struggling colleague, anyone carrying a heavy load, remember that your help might be the turning point in their story. But offer it with dignity, the way Victoria did for us. Not as charity, but as investment in human potential. The video transitioned to show Michael and Victoria walking hand in hand through the foundation's newest housing development, modern, affordable apartments for single-parent families. Victoria and I disagree about one thing in our story, Michael said, smiling at his wife in the footage. She says I saved her that night by making sure she got home safely. I say she saved us by seeing value in me beyond my current circumstances. The camera returned to Michael one last time, his expression serene. The truth is, we saved each other. And that's the message I want to leave you with today. We're all both helpers and helped at different points in our lives. The key is recognizing which role you're in at any given moment, and embracing it with grace. He stood, walking to his window where the view showed children playing in the yard, the next generation of the Foundation's summer camp program. Thank you for watching our story. If it moved you, please like and subscribe. But more importantly, look around your own life. Who needs your help? And who's offering you help that pride might be causing you to refuse? Michael turned back to the camera, his smile gentle but his eyes intense with conviction. A single act of kindness changed everything for us. Imagine what it could do for you. The screen faded to the Foundation's logo, a simple house with a heart at its center, and contact information for single parents in need of support. In the comments section below, thousands shared their own stories of unexpected kindness and second chances, creating a ripple effect that extended far beyond what Michael could have imagined that night 15 years ago when he simply offered his boss a ride home.